välkomna allihopa till dagens webbinar, och vi har med oss Lara Bloom ifrån London, ifrån the Ehlers Danlos Society, som kommer att berätta lite grann för oss idag om vad The Society gör för någonting. Och har ni några frågor så finns det något som heter Q&A här nere. Där kan ni ställa frågor, då ser vi dem allihopa. Så ska vi försöka att svara på dessa. So I say welcome to Lara Bloom, who is joining us from London and representing the Ehlers Danlos Society, and goes to tell us today about what the Ehlers Danlos Society is doing for the EDS community all over the world. Welcome, Lara.
Thank you so much, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I think most of you are from the same time zone, so hello and welcome. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing today and also what our response has been to the recent COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. Hopefully you should be able to see. And can everyone see that? Yes? Great. Okay. So, for those of you that are not aware, the Ehlers Danlos Society is a global organization that was formally launched in 2016 and was born out of what was then called the EDNF, the Ehlers Danlos National Foundation, which was a US organization. And the four pillars of our mission are education, awareness, advocacy, and research. And we've come a long way in a short time. And I will show you a little bit later on in the presentation just how far our reach is now globally. Many of you may be on our global registry already, but for many, many years there was a very big need for there to be a global registry for EDS and HSD. And that kind of helps us unlock the genetic secrets behind hypermobile EDS, but it also tells us a greater story about all the different types of EDS, about all the different comorbidities. And it is perhaps one of the single most important things that anyone can do to help improve this condition. If you could get yourselves on the global registry and make sure that you put all your details in there, it's free to do. It takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your time. And that is how we know that you exist and are willing to take part in research. So once you're on there, we can then contact you about potential research in the future, and you're helping with that data and that information to tell the true picture and the true story about what EDS and HSD really looks like. There we go. Another exciting story is the HEDGE study, the Hypermobile Ehlers Danlos Genetic Evaluation Study. And we launched this back in I think it was the beginning of 2018 or 2019. Time is running away. And the idea of it is to do whole genome sequencing genetic testing on 1,000 people that meet the 2017 criteria for hypermobile EDS. And the reason that part is so important is because those 1,000 people all need to look the same in terms of their presentation, their symptoms, their phenotype, because you're trying to create the tip of an iceberg that then enables you to tell a story about the larger population that are living with potentially hypermobility spectrum disorders and hypermobile EDS pre-2017 criteria. But for research, you really need to have that defined cohort of people involved. So we've recruited about half the people now from around the world. We've done that through our conferences and focused enrollment events. Obviously, COVID-19 has put a hold on all of those, and I will talk a little bit later about what we're going to be doing about that. But that's a very, very exciting project. And between that and also general research, we've raised about $3 million in just about a year and a half, which is huge. It's actually mind-blowing when there was very, very little money out there for research. Previously, we had $2 million dedicated to the HEDGE study, and we also had $1 million donated for our 2020 research call in clinical and basic research as well, micro grants, travel grants, and that's all being announced and rolled out over 2020 and will be given out between 2020 and the beginning of 2021. So that's really, really exciting. And we want to continue this. You know, we would love to have $1 million every year for the scientific community. And it requires a lot of hard work. And obviously in this kind of climate, it seems almost impossible, but we're optimistic, we're hopeful, because we know that that funding is what will lead to the answers that will improve everyone's lives. Another thing that we announced in April of last year, which we're very, very proud of, is EDS Echo. Now, EDS Echo is an education program that we launched to try and get 1,000 new EDS experts by 2022. And we are on track to do this. The purpose of EDS Echo is it was actually, Project Echo was launched because of hepatitis C in New Mexico. There was an expert there who found that all people were trying to get to him, and they were waiting years to get that appointment. And where they were living, there was no local care and support. So he started up a tele-mentoring platform where it was almost like a grand rounds, where you're presenting de-identified case studies, and it's this all teach, all learn model. And it was hugely successful. And now it's seen across multiple conditions across the world. And we realized that this was very relatable to EDS. We know that people are waiting years for appointments, and actually that there's no real such thing as an EDS expert. It's many, many different disciplines that are required to take care of this condition. And all it requires is someone to be educated on the condition and be willing to learn the best management and care guidance for that population. And we have many, many people doing that now, and it's very, very exciting. And you can see here examples of the echoes that we have now. We have a vascular EDS echo, we have an advocacy echo, which is aimed at our community members and not health professionals, which is very exciting, the first of its kind, allied health professionals and nurses. And in many, many ways, EDS Echo trailblazed Project Echo. We were the first rare disease echo, we were the first patient-focused echo, and we were the first non-profit echo that had echoes all over the world. So it's very, very exciting, and we are going to build and build on this portfolio because it is such a great way to educate and reach people. You can see here just how far we've grown, as I was alluding to at the beginning. In 2016, our Facebook page had 25,000 followers. We've now got 90,500, nearly 100,000 people on Facebook, which is amazing. On Twitter, we had just 2,000 in 2016. We now have almost 16,000. On Instagram, we didn't even have an account. We were at 0. We now have 37,400 people. And this blows my mind. On our website, we were having on average 20,000 unique visitors a month to our website. 1 month. We now have 367,000 unique visitors to our website every month, which is just incredible. On Inspire, which is our forum where people can come and chat and talk to our moderators, we have 4,000 people on there. We now have 85,910. So you can see just how quickly we have made a huge spread across the earth. And it's very, very exciting. We want to reach more and more countries, more and more global reach, more and more people within the countries we're already reaching. And you can help us do that by raising awareness and sharing people the website, the registry, and all the resources that we have. We all know that approximately 3 or 4 months ago, the world was hit by COVID-19 pandemic, and it really shook non-profits and forced us to change much of what we were doing and how our organization was run. On March the 16th, saw the launch of our dedicated COVID-19 webpage, which has links to the CDC, the WHO, but more importantly, how does this impact EDS and HSD? Will this increase our chances of getting it? When we do, and if we do get it, will things be worse? All these kind of questions are answered on this page, along with resources and links to webinars, to our virtual support group calls, and we've had 20,000 unique visitors in just 3 weeks from launching that on March the 16th. We're doing increased support calls, so you can see here we're doing them globally, the weekend, different time zones. And at the beginning, that was focused just on COVID-19. We found people really wanted to talk about things, ask questions, and that's still an opportunity. People can do that. But we've found now that things have branched out and it's going back towards general conversations about EDS and HSD and support, and that's great too. But we wanted to just increase things to let you know we're here weekly for you to come and speak to people just like you that know how it feels during this time to be really scared about what's going on. We also had a movement series. One of the biggest things that was taken away from us when this happened, when lockdown kicked in, was the ability to move, to exercise, to go to our therapies, physical therapy, you know, emotional therapy, all the different treatments that we have that make everyday life easier was stopped on the whole. And so we introduced this movement series for adults, for kids, for teens, and there's links to that all on our website. And it's an amazing, amazing resource that I do encourage you to dig into. We have a helpline that runs all the time, and we are, you can hear my dog barking in the background, I apologize for that. So you can call or email our helpline at any time, and there will be someone that can answer your questions, give you support and advice, and we encourage you to check out our website and see where that is. We have opportunities for people from all over the world to contact in those free phone numbers as well, and someone will call you right back. So please do reach out to us at any time. We've had obviously a big impact on our events. We had to postpone our European conference, which was supposed to be in March in Paris. It's currently postponed to November, but I do believe, unfortunately, we will have to postpone it again, and we will be making an announcement imminently about that. We've had to make our summer conference that was supposed to be in Arizona virtual, and we will be in Arizona next year, we hope and pray in person. And we have had to make a scientific meeting that was being held in Miami in October, also virtual. So we don't want to prevent this information and updates getting to you, and we're very, very excited about our virtual program. I would definitely encourage you to have a look, to register. We've got some amazing speakers, amazing topics, some that have never been talked about before. We really wanted to get fresh new content for everyone, and we are hoping and praying that we will have it translated as well. It's extremely expensive to do translations, so we are desperately trying to find the funding to enable that to happen. So watch this space. Obviously, as I said, the HEDGE study has been impacted massively because we can no longer enroll people in person. So that will be delayed until 2021. We had hoped that we would finish enrollment by the end of this summer, but that will no longer be possible. So everything is still happening as planned. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do it. So I want to kind of end this with a hopeful message. Despite these hard times, our strength still begins with hope, and that usually begins with you. And we are here all the time with many, many resources. We're very happy to be aligned with so many wonderful national patient organizations out there, and very grateful for all the work that has been being done on a national level. And we are proud to be here on a global level, encouraging, supporting, and helping as much as we can. You can reach out to me or the Society at any time. These are our contact details and our social media handles. As I said, if you're not on the registry, please make that the first thing you do after this webinar. And thank you very much for listening. I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Lara. We'll see if we have any questions for you. Are there any questions for Lara? If you're not comfortable writing in English, you can write in Swedish and I try to translate. See if we get any. I have a question. On your website, I find your website very, very helpful in many times, and you have a lot of information on your website. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the patient-friendly information you have? You can print out and take to your doctors and so on.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have tons of resources on our website. And again, our plan over the next few years is to get everything on our website translated. And so it won't just be in English, it will also be in local languages. That's a big hope and aim for us. We're also relaunching our website in the next couple of months. At the moment, there's so much on there, and it can sometimes be a bit hard to navigate and find things. So we're going to be relaunching that. So it's going to be really, really easy to find everything. There's going to be lots and lots of FAQs, resources, things you can print out and take to your doctor. So there's lots there now. There's going to be lots more, and it's going to be really, really easy to navigate that.
And also you have a YouTube channel, but which I also find very, I'm hanging there a lot because I've been live in Madrid and in Maastricht and in Ghent, but almost every seminar that are presented are recorded and gets on your YouTube eventually. So yeah. So there are lots of...
And we have webinars every month as well. So we have all of our conference recordings, webinars, everything there ends up on our website. And like I said, we are hoping to get all of that translated. So a big aim for us in the next 3 to 5 years is to really increase our translation ability. It is unfortunately all based on funding.
Yeah, we have gotten some questions here, and some are in English and some are in Swedish. But one is, I think I started registration like 2 years ago, but I don't know how to find out if I finished it. How can I find out? Someone forgotten their password.
We have no registration or membership on our website. It's free to access for everyone. So you don't need any passwords. You don't need to pay any money. Everything is there. So you may be confused with another organization, but for us, you don't need any login or any money to access everything.
I think they're registered for the global registry. I can't get in again.
Ah, okay. So you need to email registry@ehlers-danlos.com. So if you go onto our website and click on registry, there's a contact thing, and then if you reach out to them, they'll be able to answer any questions you have.
I translate. Om ni har tappat bort lösenord eller inte kommer in igen, så kan man då mejla till registry@ehlersdanlos.com. Och det står även om man går in igen, så står det så att man kan få uppgifterna där. I'm just going to read a little bit here. There is a question if you have done a genetic panel in Sweden to confirm it's not Eds but HEDGE instead. Is there any way to provide those results for the study?
No, not at the moment, unfortunately. We're hoping to launch, it's been delayed, a global repository where there will be the option for people to add any genetic testing that they've had to help with future research. But as I mentioned, for the HEDGE study, it all has to be done in exactly the same way so that the results are we have very clean data.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions about the HEDGE study and the registry. Will you have a HEDGE enrollment in Sweden or somewhere near here, like Copenhagen, in the future?
We don't know at the moment because of COVID-19. We are trying to explore other ways of getting people recruited into HEDGE. We hadn't planned one in Sweden, but because we hoped to do many people at the Paris conference, so we hoped people would come to that. We shall see what happens and what our ability is, but we still have to recruit another 500 people. So we definitely need to think of ways to get people involved, but we'll watch this space for more information.
Let us know if Sweden is an option and we will help you to set it up here. That's a promise. Yeah. Here's another one about the global registry. I have not yet registered in the EDS global registry, but would like to do that. Is it okay to register even though I might not be diagnosed with the correct type?
Yes, there is an option on there where it is unknown, so you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. Så då är svaret ja där. Och here's another one. Hi, is there any study or knowledge if there is some food or supplements, vitamins or minerals that can help a person with EDS-HSD?
So there is no published work really at the moment. There needs to be, but there is anecdotally people, and this is my personal experience, so I'm not a medical professional, but my experience of I've had very, very good results on very high dose vitamin C, so around 2,500 milligrams a day of vitamin C powder. Vitamin D is also got great results, and B12. But with vitamin D and B12, you have to measure that you're not taking too much, because you need to be careful with that. Whereas vitamin C, your body just gets rid of what it doesn't need, so there's less risk of that one. I've had great results from those, and I know many people who have tried and had the same. In terms of a diet, there's lots of diets out there that people have tried. I like to think of them as ways of eating rather than a diet, because diets, you often think of it as losing weight, and it's not about that. I tend to find when I eat as clean as possible, so it's kind of the obvious things, cutting out sugar, carbs, and I know that those two things help a lot with bloating, and some people found that cutting out dairy helps, but everyone is different, and I think you just need to do things for yourself, keep a food diary, and monitor things. I tried the keto diet and found it very, very beneficial, but I found it very hard to maintain and do it long term. And the thing that I didn't like so much about it was that you can't really have breaks from it. And I don't like doing anything for me personally that is so, rule based, and that you can't really have that flexibility on. But everyone is different. I know people that have that diet long term and have no issues. So everyone has to decide what's best for them. And I think it's often a trial and error until there is published work on really what a good EDS diet looks like.
Yes. And isn't there a study about diet and ongoing?
There was, and unfortunately it's not going on anymore, and you would have to point any questions about that to EDS UK, who are now taking over that.
Okay.
The society is no longer involved in that.
Okay. We have some more questions here. Here's one in Swedish, so I try to translate. I hope I translated right. You said that we could call you. What can I talk about? Is it anything or only EDS?
So it's not me personally you're going to get through to, it's our helpline. But you can talk about anything that's, related to EDS. So it could be about emotional things, physical things, relationships, it's a helpline. So it's really whatever you need it to be.
Yeah. I try to translate what you said because the question was in Swedish. Man kan ringa och det är inte då Lara personligen som man pratar med, utan det är en helpline så man får prata med en person. Och man kan prata egentligen om allting, men det behöver vara lite relaterat till EDS, men det kan fortfarande vara väldigt brett vad som är relaterat till EDS, så det kan vara egentligen allting som man vill där. Så det är väl svar nog där. And I'll see, another one. We're getting a lot of thank you, and thank you from Quebec. We have someone with us from Quebec. That's a bit of a surprise here in Sweden. To be joining anyway. I'll see if we have any more questions. Thank you for your nice work. Is there any events planned in Sweden?
Yes, we are hoping to come to Sweden. I think it's not that close, unfortunately. I think it's 2023. We have a 6-year plan for where we're going to be around the world. We had hoped to come to Sweden next year, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we've had to push events that were this year, that were next year, and it's changed everything. In the next month, I think we're going to be announcing our 5-year plan. And so everyone will see the exact times and our plan for where we're going to be.
Yeah. And here's just another one. And my daughters want to have children, but will wait until the doctors are able to cut off genes that carry Ehlers Danlos. Do you think that may ever be possible, or should I recommend adoption?
That's a big question. I think we are many years away from that. you know, we know 13 of the 14 types, we know what the mutation is, and that's still not that possible at the moment. It's not impossible, but it's so far away, and it's also 50-50. So, you know, we have many people that choose to still have children despite the risk of it being inherited. I think we're years away from that, so it depends on the window of their fertility and if they have the time to wait for that. But there are many people that still have children despite that.
Let's see, I think there is, how about gluten? I think that's related to the food questions we talked about earlier. Is there any studies about gluten and EDS and how to approach with gluten?
I think on the whole, most human beings would do better without gluten. I think it's not great to eat gluten, but it's also not poisonous. So if you eat gluten and you don't get affected, keep eating it. If you do eat gluten and you get affected, stop eating it. And that's the advice to anyone in the world, I think. My wife, for example, is gluten-free because she knows it makes her stomach bad. Now, I don't get the same issues, but I also know that I bloat a bit more when I have gluten. And so where I can, I try and avoid it. And again, it goes back to the food diary of, you know, don't eat gluten for 6 weeks, see what happens, reintroduce it and see what happens. If nothing happens, then keep eating gluten. And if you find your symptoms are worse, then you know that you need to keep eliminating gluten. And that goes for dairy, sugar, you know, nightshade vegetables, or, you know, all these different things. Onions, garlic can be a trigger. But until you have to completely eliminate something for 6 weeks, and then you reintroduce it and you keep a food diary to see what that's done to your symptoms. And that's really the only way to measure anything in terms of what you're eating.
And that's the thing with the food diary is very, very good. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit on Thursday, if you're joining us now, on tips on how to get a better doctor's appointment, a little bit about same that Shani do. There I can show you some formulas you can have to how you write up every day what you eat and how you react. And it's not just how the stomach reacts, but how the muscles, how the ache is, and everything like that. So join in Thursday for that. I think we have a last question here for you, and then we have a question for the Swedish Association in Swedish. This is a very long question, but I'm going to read it. I'm not public with my diagnosis. I would like to be, but frankly, I'm a bit scared that I will mess up things for those who are having a lot worse pain levels, etc. I'm afraid the doctors and the Swedish Social Security Agency will think that everyone having this can do what I can and thus doubt those are struggling tremendously in the everyday activities, at least here in Sweden. What do you think about this? In my mind, I think that it would actually be good for the doctors to see that the differences actually exist within the diagnosis, and I guess it could also be within the same family. In some cases, EDS is obviously even more invisible, but nonetheless, people like me also need checkups, etc.
I would say that your question has just articulated one of the things that I am most frustrated about. And I find it very upsetting that people would feel that they can't talk about their diagnosis because they don't live up to a certain stereotype of what that diagnosis should be. EDS and HSD, no matter what type, is on a big spectrum. And that can be athletes, gymnasts, musicians, people who work 7 days a week, all the way through to people who are bedbound, in a wheelchair, and unable to move. There is no right and wrong way of how to have EDS. You know, I often, unfortunately, get abuse on social media because I don't look sick enough to have EDS, and I'm too active, and I do too much exercise. And I will keep being who I am and doing what I do, because I have this condition and it can look like this, and it can look like a lot of other different ways as well. There is not one way to live with this condition, and there is no right way to live with this condition. Everyone is different. It's why we embrace the zebra so much, because not one zebra has the same stripes. Every zebra is different, and everyone with EDS and HSD is different. And I would tell you to embrace the fact that that's how you're living your life. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't be scared of that, because you're absolutely right. We need to tell the world that this condition manifests its way in many different ways and affects people in many different ways. And the more we talk about that, the better it is. And just because you're coping and managing life doesn't mean you shouldn't have access to management and care, because you want to maintain that quality of life. You shouldn't just get access because you're at the very worst end of the spectrum. You know, that if you think of lots of different conditions out there, there's people with cancer that run marathons, people with heart disease, people with diabetes, and then, you know, within that, the same spectrum. There's become this real unfortunate negative group on social media that make people feel like they can't be who they are and have EDS in the way that they have it. And I think that's very, very wrong. And I will do everything I can to encourage people to live their truth and their life and their reality of what this condition looks like, because there is no right and wrong way. It's very important to remember that. Just be who you are and live the life that you have in the best way that you can. And that goes for people at the worst end of the spectrum and the best. You know, there is no right way. I just can't say that strongly enough. You know, please do tell people about this, help raise awareness, help show that this is one way of how zebra stripes can look, and there's lots of other examples of other ways that it can look as well. So yeah.
Thank you very much. And one last thing. This was a very nice last speech, but could Lara please repeat the amount of vitamin C, D, and B12? So it's just a clarification.
Yes. So I personally, it's important to remember this is what I do. This is not a doctor saying that's what you should do. I take 2,500 milligrams of vitamin C powder a day. And the vitamin B and D levels, you just take on the higher end of the dose. You need to work out what that is, because it needs to be based on what your levels are. So you can buy over the counter higher dose stuff, and you just take what's recommended on there, and then just have some blood tests to monitor if you're still low or high, to know how much you should increase or decrease. For example, I took very high dose B12 for about 7 years, and then last year in my blood test, my levels were too high. Nothing had changed. It's just my body suddenly had enough, so I've stopped taking B12 now. So that's how it works. And like I said, vitamin C, you can be a little bit going a bit higher with that, and keep an eye on kidneys, on how you're going to the toilet. There are some conditions where that kind of high dose vitamins might not work, so it's just important, if you are concerned, to speak to your doctor and be aware of any new symptom changes.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Lara, for being with us today. I think I got a lot of, in the chat and in the Q&A, that you make a huge difference for the society, and we are very happy that you are doing the work for us, and we will help in any way we can. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Och vi har fått en fråga här också till Svenska föreningen. Vart vänder man sig för att utbilda sitt barn? Svårt att hitta rätt än som vuxen, men när det kommer till barn känns det nästan till omöjligt. Och svaret på det är att jag vet ju inte riktigt var personen som ställer den här frågan bor någonstans. Men i Skövde håller man på med en studie som heter Baltasar. Och Skövde är ju ett ställe att remittera till. Sen kan det ju vara svårt när det kommer till barn om man nu bor väldigt långt ifrån. Som sagt, jag har inte en aning om var personen som ställer frågan bor någonstans. Men man kan också försöka att ta kontakt med till exempel habilitering och sådana här saker. Det är inte säkert att de sätter diagnos, men man brukar kunna hjälpa till med de problemen som barnen har. Och även om en diagnos kan vara jätteviktig så är det svårare att få diagnos som barn. Läkare är mer tveksamma till att sätta diagnos på barn, för barn är överrörliga mer generellt. Och man vill vänta och se om det stabiliserar sig och sådana saker. Så jag vet att det också är svårare. Och det här är någonting som vi också försöker att belysa på olika sätt ifrån föreningen. Och att det här behöver bli bättre. Men det finns en viss skepsis till att sätta diagnos just på barn. Men det som är viktigt att ha med sig, det är det att alla barn i Sverige ska få den hjälp de behöver för att till exempel klara sin förskola eller sin skolgång. Oavsett om man har diagnos eller inte. Det är ett vanligt missförstånd att man tror att man måste ha en diagnos för att få hjälp i skolan, men så är det alltså inte. Och det är viktigt att komma ihåg.
Jag vet att om det är så att man har problem med överrörlighet och värk hos barn så kan man ju få en remiss till barnmottagningen. De är ofta ganska kunniga, även om de inte sätter en diagnos så kan man ju få väldigt mycket hjälp.
Ja, så barnmottagningen också. Ja, alltså det var någon som skrev här att man kan tipsa om Erik Ronge. Han gör gärna smalstickare i sitt tal. Erik är ju väldigt kunnig just kring barn och EDS, men Erik är ju pensionerad så han är inte längre verksam. Men han har ju varit i Skövde och det är väl ingen slump att den här Baltasar-studien är just i Skövde. Ska vi se här, det var någon som skrev här att de bor i, jag ska bara se så jag är rätt här, i Stockholm, den som ställde frågan. Och då är mitt svar att barnmottagningen och faktum är precis som Irene säger att de oftast kan vara kunnigare och just inom EDS, men kan vara lite ovilliga att sätta diagnos. Så att, nu har vi här från Valerie Gouillot, som jag tror är från Quebec. Thank you so much, Valerie, for joining us today. Very nice to have someone from way over there to come and join us here in Sweden.
A colleague in the Echo Patient Expert course.
Så att jag tror att vi tar och rundar av. Jag tror vi har svarat på de flesta frågor. Så vi tackar er för idag. Och nästa webbinar vi har är imorgon klockan 2. Och då är det ju Erik Ronge som vi precis pratade om som är väldigt kunnig inom barn och EDS. Nu kommer inte det vara hans huvudfokus imorgon, utan huvudfokuset imorgon kommer snarare att vara kring samsjuklighet och dysautonomi. Och som sagt var, precis som vi sa, Erik kommer säkert att komma in på lite andra saker. Jag vet att han själv har ett önskemål om att prata lite grann om svårigheten för patienten att få diagnos. Så där kanske det kommer in lite grann kring det här med barn också och hans syn på det hela. Så varmt välkomna imorgon klockan 2. Och som sagt var, det ligger på vår Facebook-sida och Instagram-sida. Följ oss gärna på båda. Där finns länkar till att anmäla sig imorgon om man inte har anmält sig. Så imorgon klockan 2 så träffar ni oss här och Erik. Tack för idag och hej då!